For Fresh Kick Friday today, I have on my Air Jordan 3, what are called True Blues. Now, these came out in the early 2000s, but then were re-released in 2016. And I remember when they were released in the early 2000s, I was in high school. And when I was in high school, the sneaker world worked much differently. Today, what happens with sneaker releases is Nike and Jordan, they just kind of randomly release different sneakers at different times in different colorways. And so as the holiday season, is upon us, we're seeing a lot of big releases. And this is a really popular sneaker in this colorway. The, Jordan 11 UNC colorway comes out tomorrow. The Jordan 4 military blue just came out recently. The Jordan 3 bread just came out recently. And so they're dropping some really big sneakers in some really popular colorways, and it's sort of very random and all over the place. When I was growing up in the early 2000s, what Nike would do is they would just release one shoe in a lot of different colorways. So it'd be the fall, the start of basketball season, and they would release the Jordan 3. And they would release the Jordan 3 in like 4 or 5 different colorways. You pick the colorway that you like the best, and you add it to your collection, or maybe you get a couple of pairs. But rather than just one Jordan 3 released here or a Jordan 3 released there, and here's a Jordan 5 and here's a Jordan 8 like they do now, it was just, hey, this is the shoe we're releasing for this particular season. And maybe the next year would be the Jordan 5, and here's 4 or 5 colorways of the Jordan 5. Hey, we're going to release the Jordan 1 again, and here's 4 or 5 colorways that you can choose from. And so I remember when this True Blue colorway was released in the early 2000s, when Nike did a large Jordan 3 release where there were 4 or 5 different, pairs that you could, purchase. The bread, the, cement, the True Blues, the dark mochas. And so I remember seeing the True Blue and thinking, man, that's a really cool shoe. But again, I was in high school. I didn't have the money to buy them. And so, unfortunately, I had to wait. And I remember when the Jordan 3 True Blue came out when I was in high school, and it had the Jumpman symbol on the back. I don't like the Jumpman symbol on the back. I like this particular pair because not only are they called the Air Jordan 3 True Blues, but they're in the OG style, meaning that it has the Nike Air on the back instead of the Jumpman symbol on the back. And I actually think that the Nike symbol on the back looks much cleaner, much more true to form than when the Jumpman is on the back of the sneaker. And so not only do I call these my Air Jordan 3 True Blues, but I also call them my end of an era. Whenever I put this sneaker on, it reminds me of the end of an era. I'm going to tell you why. I remember buying this sneaker vividly. I mean, it was literally 8 years ago, almost to the exact date. It was mid-December 2016, and I was at the Colonial Park Mall finishing up some Christmas shopping for my family. And again, end of an era. The fact that I'm at the Colonial Park Mall should have some of you guys like, what? You were at the Colonial? Has anybody been to the Colonial Park Mall recently? Have we seen the Colonial Park Mall recently? It doesn't look like a mall. It looks like it should be the setting for Wes Craven's next horror film, okay? Like I literally am scared to death when I am in the Colonial Park Mall. The majority of the shop fronts are empty. There's nobody there. It is a very, very weird vibe when you go to the Colonial Park Mall. That was not the case 8 years ago. And it certainly wasn't the case when I was growing up. When I was growing up, the Colonial Park Mall was the place to be. The movie theater was bumping. They had all the best stores for video games, for sneakers, for clothing. You name it, the Colonial Park Mall had it. And around the holidays, it was the best. I mean, they would decorate the whole mall, lights and wreaths and Christmas trees and pictures with Santa, and the place would be absolutely jumping. And as easy as it is to get online and just order Christmas gifts on Amazon or, whatever the case may be, there is something about going to the mall and actually looking around and actually seeing something and thinking, oh, this would be great for my mom. Oh, this would be great for my sister. And so it's 2016. the Colonial Park Mall was still doing well. Okay, the Colonial Park Mall was still a fairly well-to-do mall. People still went to malls in 2016. Crazy to think, just 8 years ago, that malls were still very much a thing. Amazon was on the rise, but not quite the conglomerate that it is today. And so I'm finishing up some Christmas shopping, and I walk past, sneaker store, and I walk in because I got to check out what's going on and what sneakers are out this holiday season. And I see this particular sneaker on the rack. And in my head, I'm like, oh man, I remember those. That's such a cool shoe. That's such a clean colorway. And I asked the store clerk, hey, you don't have these in a size 12, hoping that she would say no, because I don't need to buy another pair of sneakers. That's not why I'm here. It's not in the budget. I'm here to finish up some Christmas shopping for my family, not for me. And she says to me, I don't think so, but let me just double check. And so I'm like, good. They don't have them. I won't buy them. All is well. She comes out with a shoebox and says, this is the last pair I have in size 12. And I'm like, okay. And she says, do you want to try them on? And I'm like, I'll try them. You know what? I'll try them on. Why not? I'm here. I might as well try them on. And I try them on, and I'm looking in the mirror, and I remember thinking to myself, Jim, you worked really hard this year, and you deserve a little Christmas gift for yourself. And so sure enough, I thought, you know what? I'm here. They have them in my size. Clearly, this is meant to be. Let's go ahead and buy them. And I added them to my collection. And so not only do I look at this pair as an end of an era because I bought them at a mall, which is the last time that I ever bought a sneaker at a shoe store in the mall, but it's the last time that I was really ever able to walk into a sneaker shop at the mall and pull a fairly new release off of the rack, try it on, and then ultimately purchase it. And this was like a couple of weeks after this sneaker came out. I guarantee you, this sneaker in this colorway, if they released them today at 12 o'clock, they would be sold out in 5 minutes online. I wouldn't have a chance to try them on. I wouldn't have a chance to walk into the store and take it off the rack and really take a look. It would just be, hey, I got to get on the Nike app at exactly the time they're going to be released, and I better buy them right away in my size or they are going to sell out. And ultimately, my choices will be, hey, too bad, so sad, wait till they get released again in 5 to 10 years, or go on a reseller site like StockX or GOAT and have to pay the up price from a sneaker reseller, which I don't want to do. And so it drives me a little nutty in 2024, the way the sneaker game works, where major releases of highly sought after sneakers in highly sought after colorways, the only way you can get those sneakers now is you got to be on that app right when they get released and hope, cross your fingers, that you get in there quick enough to get a pair, or else you're going to have to, potentially look for them on one of these resale sites and have to pay ridiculously higher prices, which I'm not going to do. I miss the days of just being able to go to the mall and, oh man, I forgot these came out. Hey, do you have these in my size? Hey, let me try them on. I'll give you guys another story as like a little bit of a bonus Fresh Kick Friday. These are called my Laney 5s, and they're old. They're starting to fall apart. I'm afraid to wear them because I'm afraid the sole is just going to completely deteriorate. These are over 20 years old. They're called my Laney 5s because Michael Jordan went to Laney High School, and Laney High School's color wave was blue and yellow, just like this. They were called the Buccaneers. And so anytime you hear that phrase, the Laney Dunks, the Laney Jordan 1s, the Laney 3s or 5s or 8s or whatever the case may be, it's referring to where Jordan went to high school and the color wave that his high school, school colors were. And so I remember going to the Harrisburg East Mall, which doesn't even exist anymore. Okay, the Harrisburg East Mall is no more. Again, I can remember when that mall was huge, bumping, 2 floors, great stores, tons of sneaker stores. And I went to the Foot Locker in the Harrisburg Mall, and these were sitting on the sale rack for like 75% off. I think I got these for like $50 back when I was in high school. Those days are long gone, because I guarantee you if the Jordan 5 Laneys came back, they would sell out in a heartbeat. And the only way you'd be able to get them is if you got on that sneaker app right at the time they were released, or ultimately went on a reseller site and then ultimately purchased them that way. And so I miss the days of being in high school and seeing a pair of Jordans on the sale rack, because really only basketball players wore Jordans at that time, or being able to walk into a store a couple weeks after a sneaker was released and being able to buy it at retail, actually try it on, actually look in the mirror, actually see how they look before ultimately making that purchase. Versus now it's like, hey, you better be on that app ready to buy right now, or else you're going to miss out. And so anytime that I put on these Air Jordan 3s, and I love to wear them this time of year, because literally I can remember 8 years almost to the date, I was at a mall in a sneaker shop trying this pair on, which is just something that sounds so ancient now, right? The idea of going to a mall and trying on a pair of sneakers at a Foot Locker, that is a mentality from a bygone era. And it kind of breaks my heart that the same way we look at going to a Blockbuster to rent a movie seems archaic in the year 2024, that's kind of what's happened to the idea of going to a Foot Locker to try on and buy that new pair of Jordans that was just released. It's just not the way the world works anymore in this technological, revolution that we're living in. Everything is done online, and sadly, that's how the sneaker world works. And instead of going to a Foot Locker to get my sneakers, I go on an app on my phone and I order them right away, or else I'm going to miss out on particular sneakers that I might want to add to my collection. And so not only are these the Air Jordan 3 True Blues, not only did you learn that when the Nike Air is on the back instead of the Jumpman, they're called OGs, which is my preferred style of different pairs of Jordans that I add to my collection. But you learn that these are sort of the end of an era. 2016 was kind of an end of an era as Amazon and other online retail stores started to become more and more a thing. It's amazing how malls have disappeared and everything has transitioned to being online. And so anytime I wear this particular sneaker, I'm reminded of a bygone era from my childhood where you would actually Christmas shop at a mall, and where you could actually go into a sneaker shop at the mall and purchase a pair of sneakers that you might want, even if they are fairly rare or highly sought after. And so I'm very happy that I was able to get this pair when I did, how I did. Little did I know it would probably be the last time that I would ever walk into a sneaker shop and try on a pair of sneakers the way I did with this particular pair. And so that's why I'm excited to share with you today on this Fresh Kick Friday my Air Jordan 3 True Blues from 2016.